Well, hello and welcome back to our third video of this series on how to use some of the most important Excel features at the workplace, in school, in life. Okay, so far just a small recap. We've covered what a VLOOKUP function does. We had two examples on that, and now we're moving on to data tables and how useful they could be whenever we want to do a sensitivity analysis or whenever we want to uh, change some of the variables that we are currently using. So just as a refresher, we were provided with all these data here and we are analyzing it as we go. So let's get started on the data table module or video. So right here, what we have is the results of our first video. We were able to determine by using VLOOKUP functions what the aggregate salary per employee should be based on the hours they have worked, right? And we have built this table and everything is linked and there are cell references. Everything is interconnected, so by default, if we were to change this variable on top to $20, everything will automatically update and we can determine how much our total salary expenditure has been. Okay, but what is the task now? Our task is to find the total budget needed if the hourly rates change to $18, $25, or $30. So right here on this section, I've created a table where we're gonna record each one of those results. On the left side, we have the variables, the new variables we're gonna apply, and on the right side we're gonna have the results, the total budget, and we're gonna compare to see how much the total budget has changed, like this one, whenever we apply those new variables, right? So let me erase this. Okay, awesome. Let's start from scratch. One traditional way of doing this is by hand or doing it manually. We have $18, 20 bucks, 25, and 30. What we could do is record everything manually as mentioned. So whenever we pay our employees 20 bucks an hour, our total budget or expenditure, it's going to be 9,380. What about when we change this to 18? Okay, now it's 8,442. 8,442, and so forth. If you notice, this process could take forever because we have to come up here and replace the variable where we're looking at and then recording the result over here, and we're gonna go back and forth. Once again, there is room for human error and it is also a tedious process. So with a data table, we can basically automate this process. So far it may be simple because we only have 4 variables, but whenever you're working with large amounts of data, this process could take forever and errors could happen at any point. Okay, so what we're gonna do is introduce what a data table is and how to interpret the arguments that we have to provide. The very first thing is we build a table where we create or we enter the variables we're testing for. And on the top right cell, this one right here, we're gonna enter the variable, the end goal, the end variable, the variable we're testing for. We want to see if there are any changes along the way, what's gonna happen to this variable. So in this case, we were asked to determine the total budget. So our variable here, it's gonna be our total budget expenditure, this one right here. Okay, so in simple words, what we have to do is make a reference in this table. We come here, we do equals, and we are gonna select D16 since that's where our budget is displayed at. Okay. Now over here I provided some guidelines on how to access a data table. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the ribbon and look for data over here. And then what if analysis, as it states, it's kind of redundant. It's a what if something changes kind of analysis. What if we change the hours, the hourly rate? What's gonna happen to our budget? It's a what if scenario. So we're gonna click on what if. Here we have the option for data table. But before we do this, we must select the table that we've created. Okay, don't forget that's like a key step. So we come, data table, and now it's asking if we're gonna enter a row input or a column input. What that basically means is saying the new variables you're testing for, are those located in a row or in a column? How did you lay out that information? And as you can see in this table, we're only using one column, meaning that our information has been laid out in a column form. Okay, so don't forget, we click on our column and then we enter the variable we're gonna change every time, which is our hourly rate. This $18, that's the one we're gonna change, that's the one we want to test for. So we're gonna come here and select that one, enter, and that is everything we have to do. We click OK, and boom, the sensitivity analysis has been completed. Excel automated absolutely everything. As you can see, there's no margin for human error in this table, and we could even replace these variables to whatever we want. We could enter a 40 here, we could enter a 50, and play with it and see how sensitive our budget will be if we were to replace these crucial variables. Now, as you can see, one of the options is highlighted in yellow, and what that is telling us is that this is the base case scenario. $18 is what we have right here in the spreadsheet. It's our base case scenario. So if I were to come and change this to $40, now the $50, my bad, now the 50 is highlighted. Now Excel is telling us, okay, hey listen, now this one is the base case scenario. This is called conditional formatting. So that's what we're gonna cover in our next video on how conditional formatting works, and we're gonna use the same table. So please join me for my next video on how conditional formatting works, and I hope data tables made sense. If not, please let me know and I'll see how to address your questions as soon as possible. Thank you for watching.